Today is the 9th of April 2021. It's another episode of Robin's Cruise Show. So, you've decided to book your first cruise. And today I'm going to be covering a few things that you should know. That and more coming up in Robin's Cruise Show. So, you have decided to book your first cruise. Now, there's no doubt going to be quite a few things that are going through your mind. This topic kind of came to me the other day when I was actually talking to a client, and they were saying that it's their first cruise, they've never booked one before, they want to cruise with Norwegian Cruise Lines, and what should she expect? So, I went into it in a bit more detail. Sorry, a little parched. So, a question that I get asked a lot as a travel agent is, what should I look for in my first cruise? Which cruise line should I book with? Where should I go? I mean, I suppose the thing is that the where you want to go bit is going to be entirely up to you. I mean, a lot of people do have a bit of a hesitation when it comes to booking the first cruise ever and booking a very long one. I do know people who have jumped in with both feet and taken the plunge, no pun intended, and sailed off on a world cruise for their first ever cruise. However, there are people who do want to try it. Now, this is kind of an interesting one. What you can do is actually at the moment, with all of the cruises just getting going again, you have a lot of opportunity to go and do a staycation. Now, I know this is very much more of a princess thing, but it kind of just broadly, I think, covers a lot of what's going on with the cruise industry at the moment. You can actually just do a couple of short cruises out of the UK, and they're really good as a bit of a taster. So it means that, I mean, cruises like MSC, Disney, and a few others are all just doing 4 nights out of Southampton, which actually is perfect. It means you can get on board a ship and you can experience what it's going to be like. I mean, admittedly, it's not going to be kind of common, the experience that you're going to have, just based on the fact that we're now living in the new normal. God, I hate using that phrase. So in the new normal, on board a cruise ship, well, cruises that are going from the UK over summer 2021, no doubt you're probably going to end up needing to wear a mask. There'll be social distancing, even on cruise lines where you're going to need to be fully vaccinated. You do have cruise lines, as I've mentioned before, MSC. They're bringing their brand new ship over, the Virtuosa, and you won't need to be vaccinated to cruise on board her. Now, if you kind of take away from the fact that you can actually try cruising this summer, I know a lot of people are looking at cruising in 2022 and 2023. I mean, we've done loads of bookings for it, so it seems to be very, very popular. Now, a lot of people tend to focus on different things when it comes to their first cruise. Most people, well, when I say most, I say the most common question we get asked is a ship all-inclusive? The answer to that is no. A ship is always going to be totally full board. So you get all of your food included, and that is in the main dining room and also the buffet restaurant. With regard to drinks, usually you would get tea, coffee, water, and non-carbonated soft drinks included within the price of the cruise. Now, these can be found at stations on the Lido deck and also in other venues around the ship. Very, very easy to get hold of, totally free of charge, you don't need to worry about it. It's only really when you get into kind of more the alcoholic drinks or the branded soft drinks. So when we're talking about brands, we're talking about Coke, Sprite, Fanta, that kind of thing. And obviously alcoholic drinks, well, we all know what alcohol is. Beers, wines, that kind of thing, spirits, cocktails. A lot of people like to know that before they go on a cruise that they don't have to worry about this. And actually, to be fair, at the moment, there seems to be very much of a focus with cruise lines in general about being more inclusive. Norwegian, they have the offer on currently of the specialty dining package, the premium drinks package, or you can choose 2 out of 4, the other 2 options being a Wi-Fi package or a shore excursion package. Now, personally for me, I'd always do the drinks and dining, that's just me. Celebrity have actually taken this one step further, and they now have an always included package, which means that you can now sail with a classic drinks package, a Wi-Fi package, and also your gratuities included as well. Now, coming back on this, gratuities. Now, this is a very common question that we get asked. A lot of people don't quite get what the gratuities are about, but essentially what it is that with most cruise lines, you have the opportunity to prepay your gratuities. Now, this is true with Norwegian Cruise Lines and also with Royal Caribbean. A lot of cruise lines now are including gratuities as part of your cruise fare, which I agree with, but I don't agree with in the same way. I mean, personally for me, I will always prepay my gratuity before I get on board the ship, but that's just because I don't want to mess around when I'm on board. It just makes life easier. Now, the tips themselves. What these are gratuities or tips that are paid to the crew. Now, generally speaking, your gratuity will include your dining room waitstaff team, who you'll meet in the main dining room every single night when you go and have dinner. These guys do work multiple shifts, so if you ever go into the main dining room for lunch or breakfast, chances are you'll see the same people working. They also cover your cabin steward. Now, these guys do work incredibly hard. I would always advise, if you can, prepay your gratuity before you go, because it means that that's just covered. You don't need to worry about it when you're on the ship. For cruise lines where the gratuity is included, I'd always say maybe just bring some cash with you, just give your cabin steward a bit of an extra tip. I mean, your dining room waitstaff team, again, it's always nice when you show appreciation to them. The thing is, if gratuities are included, then it means they are taken care of. If they're not, then you can prepay them, as I say, or, which is more common, when you're on board the ship, they're actually automatically added to your onboard account, and it's just done on a daily rate. I think at the moment it's around $11 per person per day-ish. This varies on the British lines, but most cruise lines you'll find work in dollars, so yeah. I mean, MSC works in euros. I think it's about €10 per person per day-ish. But MSC have now included gratuity as part of the cruise fare anyway, so it's not really important. The other tip that I would give you is do carry some cash with you. Whenever I sail with the American Cruise Lines, I do usually keep kind of some $1 and $5 with me, just because if I get really good service at the bars, then I do tip additionally. I like to reward people for good service, that's just how I am. Now, one big thing that people look at when booking a cruise, and this can actually make a decision between booking or not booking, is when people look at the price of drinks packages. Now, there are some lines, Royal Caribbean for example, they charge you $65 per person per day. Carnival Cruise Lines, they have the Cheers beverage package, which works out about the same, except with Carnival, that is limited to 15 drinks. And I mean, that's 15 drinks over the day, which are alcoholic, which doesn't seem like a lot to me for what you're paying. Honestly, whichever cruise line you want to go with, always be aware that if there is not a drinks package included within the price, then you will be paying additionally for that. One other thing to mention actually with bars, and again it comes back to tips, is that if you do not have a drinks package included, generally speaking, you will find they will whack on about a 15% gratuity on any drink you order. I know you're probably sat there thinking, really, that's a lot, but it is and it isn't. I suppose that just covers the barman's tip. At the end of the day, the cruise that you book should be based on where you want to go in the world. And also one thing I might point out is this, is that a lot of people work on reviews. Now, being a travel agent, this is slightly the bane of my existence sometimes, in the fact that when we see people who leave a review on Trustpilot from my company, they're either really good. I mean, we hold a 4.9 rating on Trustpilot. I'm just going to put that out there. But people do read a lot of reviews these days. And a friend of mine put this to me, and she said, when you have a really bad holiday, how many people do you tell? And I was actually thinking about this. And apparently, statistically, we will tell 15 people when we've had a bad holiday. However, when we've had a good holiday, people are like, oh, how was your cruise? How was it? And you're just like, yeah, it was great. And that's all you say, because you've had a good experience. People are less likely to say the good things than they are about the bad things. My advice when reading reviews would be to take things with a pinch of salt. No, honestly do. Because there have been cruises that I've been on myself. I mean, just for an example, I went on the Norwegian Epic, going around the Med, probably 8 years ago now, with my mum. And just out of curiosity, I'd read some reviews about the Epic, and kind of I'd formed like a middle of the line point of view on what the ship was going to be like. And when I got back, just out of pure curiosity, I read a few reviews. Now, I left a good review because we'd had a really good time and a really good cruise. However, I saw another review, and I did read it, and I was just thinking, were we on the same ship and were we having the same holiday? I'm not sure. Because the review was just so bad. It was so critical. I suppose what I'm trying to say is that everyone's got their own point of view, and some people look at things through a set of rose-tinted glasses, and some people don't. But then there are also people out there who do look for the bad things. They will actually go out their way to look at the things and point them out to make an excuse as to why they didn't have a good cruise holiday. Now, my advice would be this. Read the reviews and draw a middle-of-the-road opinion. Also, travel agents like ourselves, we are the experts. We've been doing this a long time. I mean, I've been working in the cruise industry now for 11 years. And I can tell you what's going to be a good cruise for you, what's going to be a bad cruise. I can make recommendations, and I can point you in the direction of a cruise line that I feel you're going to like. Which is why, listen to us. We know what we're talking about. There are people out there who, how do I put this politely? Read every review under the sun, watch all the YouTube videos. I know the irony with that in the fact that I'm making a YouTube video. Don't worry, you can point that out in the comments to me. It's fine. And they think they're an expert, and they try and tell you where I'm going wrong. It's like, well, no, are you going to listen to 11 years of experience, or are you going to go with what you've read on social media? My point is this, is take what you've got from social media, what you've done through your research, and talk to your travel agent, and between the three things, you'll be able to find a great cruise, you'll have a good time, it'll meet the requirements that you want, it'll take you to some awesome places. Cruising is brilliant. And it is the best opportunity to be able to unpack once, go and visit a load of cool places. Also, you can find some places that you might want to go back and spend a bit longer in. I mean, Dubrovnik for me, I've been there twice on a cruise, and both times I had a day. So I actually flew back and spent 4 nights there because it was such a great place. I didn't really feel like I had the true experience, but that's just me. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here, guys. Hope you found this informative and interesting. Please do like the video, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and please subscribe to the channel. Anyway, guys, thanks very much. I've got a new episode coming out tomorrow. Robin's Cruise Show, out.